Hey guys, it's Aaron or LM9, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my custom Star Wars The Black Series Bo-Katan figure. Now, I know this isn't LEGO, but I asked over on the community tab if people wanted to see a video on this figure, and literally all of the comments said yes, so here she is. So I've been wanting to make a Bo-Katan 6-inch scale Black Series custom action figure for about a year. I even bought a spare Sabine Wren figure a year ago, but I actually just didn't get around to making her until now. But I figured now was the right time, since it was either now or never, since Hasbro is starting to dip their feet in more Clone Wars figures, and I feel like she may actually get an official release someday. But I decided to go for her Season 5 look opposed to the Season 7 look, because I think if Hasbro does make a figure of her, they'll go with the Season 7 look. Plus, I also wanted to make my own Pre-Vizsla at some point, so this version will go very well with him. Now, if you couldn't already tell, the base of this figure was a Sabine Wren. However, I did arm swap it with my spare Hera Syndulla in order to have arms that had some cloth sculpt on them rather than just bare skin. But since these peg sizes were different, I had to carve out the peg hole in the Sabine figure to make them a little wider. I made one side a little too big or just cut too deep into it, so the arm joint is just a little gummy and a little loose. It's not going to fall out of there, but it just doesn't hold and rotate the position right. So just kind of weird, but it is what it is. Her right hand is from the Sabine figure, and the left is from Hera, since I wanted both hands to have that up and down, rolling the dice articulation, since she does dual-wield pistols, and that is just the more superior articulation for holding blasters. Now, if we focus in on the sculpt, I'll have to say that there is a very fair amount of work to do. I've seen plenty of custom bow figures out in the community that don't modify the Sabine sculpt like at all, or if they do, it's just very, very minimally, and quite frank, it's kind of lazy in some ways, and it just doesn't look great. So I wanted my figure to actually be accurate, so I had to sculpt pretty much every single piece of armor on this figure. So starting off with the legs, I sculpted the plates on the feet and modified the armor on the lower calf by the ankle. I used some pieces of styrene to make the shin guards, and also used some styrene for the sides of the knees, and then sculpted over the rest of the knee to give it that classic Mando shape. I used some thin vinyl as a base for the thigh armor, and then sculpted over that, so that way the thigh joint can still rotate. And then I glued the holsters onto that from the Sabine figure. Now, most of this armor was painted up in Model Master steel, and it's just been weathered a lot with like apple barrel pavement and blacks and just a weathering kit, but I also used a mixed color for the light blue details. The cod piece was made from styrene cut from a sheet, and the belt was sculpted in a few layers on top of that, and each pouch was sculpted individually, and then the whole thing was just painted up in brown. Moving up to the chest, I sculpted each piece separately after just ripping off the Sabine armor piece, and then I added the little yellow lights up there and sculpted the ab section as well. I also sculpted the collar armor, which wraps around the figure to the back armor, and back here you can see the jetpack, which was 3D printed by John Walker Customs and painted up by me. Now, I even made sure to make some scorch marks down by the thrusters to make it look like it's been in use, so I really like that detail. I thought that was really fun to do. Now, for the shoulder armor, I just carved them out of the shoulder pads Hera had, and then I put a layer of glue over the rubber to stiffen it up and just fill in any of the gaps that was in that sculpt. Now, while we are here, you can see that I painted both shoulders to have the night owl symbols on them, which I'm really happy with. It's definitely easier to paint these logos on a larger scale on the Black Series figures when compared to working at a very small scale with LEGO. Now, the gauntlets, on the other hand, were completely sculpted from scratch, and I'm really happy with how those turned out. Here you can see all the painted and sculpted details with the buttons, the battle damage, and the guns, which look really cool. Her left arm has one gun, and the right gauntlet has two. Lastly is the helmet. This started off as a Sabine helmet, but I carved some sharper angles into the visor. I sculpted the cheeks and added these slanted portions to the sides. Everything was then painted up in light blue as a base. Then I painted white for the face of the helmet, dark blue for the cheeks, gray for the back of the helmet, black for the visor and the Clan Kryze logo on her forehead, and then some white again for the weathering and battle damage. Now, I didn't make an unmasked head since I didn't really see a point, since I like having the helmet on this figure, but I did paint the back of the Sabine head hair to be orange in order to match Bo's hair color. Also, if you couldn't tell, I did paint the whole jumpsuit black and then weathered the whole figure with battle damage and a Tamiya weathering kit. Now, for some comparisons, here she is with the Sabine figure, so you guys can get a before and after shot of this figure. Here she is along with the Rebels Ahsoka, since the Clone Wars one hasn't come out yet, along with a Captain Rex. And then here she is with some other Mandos, just to see how well she fits in here. Overall, I'm extremely happy with the way this figure turned out, and I'm really glad I finally made her. I've been sitting on this project for, a year now, so it's really nice to finally finish this up. My only complaint with this, other than the gummy arm joint, is that I sprayed this whole figure with a gloss finish, but I think I need to get some matte finish to brush on over the black jumpsuit, just since that gloss finish doesn't really look right to me there. So if I update that, I'll be sure to show you guys, because that's one thing I still would like to do. I just need to find some really good matte finish to just be able to brush on. Now, I know Hasbro's doing their event this week for HasCon, and at the time of me filming, they haven't shown any new Black Series releases. But if they do release a bow, I'm going to be kind of mad, since I literally just finished this figure, and that would be the second time I've finished a custom Black Series scale figure for them to just announce one immediately after. The first time it happened with Phase 2 Rex. But if they do make it, I really do hope it looks really good. I hope it has an unmasked head, and it's the Season 7 look. I just hope that they just don't cheap out and do reuses of all of their parts like they've been doing for a lot of the Clone Wars figures already. So hopefully it's an entirely new sculpt, and hopefully it looks good if they actually do come out with one. If they didn't release one, then I'm just going to look like an idiot for talking this long about it. But hey, anyway, hopefully you guys like this video. If you guys like seeing custom action figures on my page, then please let me know. I've got a bunch of other figures that I have made and would like to show, and just other projects that I'd like to do at this scale, like the previously mentioned Pre-Vizsla. So if you guys want to see that type of stuff, just let me know what you guys think. I'd love to get some more diverse content out for you guys. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.